Alright, so we're going to move into the second game here. eHustle taking down the first player from Team Paupen, that being Spokes with his Affinity deck. So now we're going to have eHustle still playing the red and black version of Tortured Reanimator, and as expected, we will see CJ Lack coming out to try and take this game down against Team DBC. And he will be playing, obviously, the Eye Candy deck. Now, we did see last week, CJ Lack did manage to pull down a couple of nice wins for his team, going on to win 2 games in a row and lose out in a third. So we'll have to see if his deck does have the speed to take down eHustle. I think if any of the decks for this Team Paupen, this would be the one to be able to take down Hustle. I think it could come down to the speed that the deck does have. I think that will be definitely important. Hopefully he does find, well, hopefully for him he finds what he needs to get things going. But an early Mesmeric Fiend could slow him down a little bit, giving eHustle an opportunity to remove perhaps a crucial piece of this combo for the early game. There will be plenty of opportunity for CJ Lack to pull down that Mesmeric Fiend and get what he needs back. But a little disruption in the early game can definitely work to their advantage. A little bit of thought going into this here. I'll have to see. CJ Lack does run in his deck 4 copies of Lightning Bolt, so that will give him, oh, there goes one of them, give him an opportunity to take that back at some point in time. Obviously now he's down to 3 copies available. With a probe available, second island coming down. Not really good for CJ Lack. Really kind of wants to hit something earlier in red. I want to see if he does find it. Did end up with a little bit of color screw in that game. He did lose last week against Drinkard, either way, of Team Sneaky Little Green Men. Ended up with a bit of a heavy draw on red mana, so I guess blue is a little bit better because he does have options here. We see a Preordain going out, the Probe, the Ponder. Will give him plenty of opportunities to find the red mana he needs. So I think being stuck on only blue is definitely a better scenario for him than being, since he does have all of that draw available to him, he will have an opportunity to find what he needs as far as red mana goes. Looks like we're going to see a little early weenie aggression off of Hustle here, being able to attack through with the Fiend and the Mirror. Nothing really CJ can do about this one. Fume Spitter coming down, plenty of mana available. Hustle has not yet found himself a Tortured Existence, which is pretty good for CJ. Looks like no Dredge shenanigans just yet, maybe no combos really even to set up for Hustle. But it is only a matter of time until he finds them. CJ, hitting his 3rd island, still has not found a red mana source. Working definitely in eHustle's favor. So both players have things going for them at this point in time. CJ opting not to pay the blue mana off of the probe there, and just concedes out, I guess. Realizes he doesn't have red, feeling really bad about it, and going to just give up the game. I think perhaps a little bit premature. I think they were both in okay shape there. CJ obviously behind without the red mana, but what he really needed to pull down was going to be, coming to him eventually. At 7 cards in hand, he had plenty of options to combo out as soon as he did find it. Maybe he saw something in Hustle's hand. Hustle down to 2 cards in hand puts him in a pretty bad place, in my opinion. He's going to have some options in the sideboard. Hustle can bring in some discard. We'll have to see if CJ can pull things down. Not a lot of great options there for him. Looks like Electrickery could be something he brings in. He has a couple of Flame Slashes in his sideboard as well. Electrickery will target down a number of those 1/1 creatures that Hustle can get going on, but kind of the bigger threat for him is going to be, oddly enough, those Scrabblers and the use of the Stinkweed Imps. So we'll have to see what, if anything, CJ can pull down. Hopefully he can just find a bit of a better draw. So CJ here, up at the top with the Eye Candy deck and eHustle at the bottom on the black and red version of Tortured. Hopefully this game goes a little bit better for both of these players, both not having a very good start, but eHustle getting enough that he would have gotten CJ Lack down enough. I think he realized that no matter what he was pulling out, the few 1/1s that eHustle did have on the board were going to be enough to bring him to his knees. It's a bit of a pause here. CJ deciding whether or not to go first. I guess it is a bit of a tough decision. We're going to assume he's just been held up a little bit. As far as eHustle, you know, he's got definitely a bit of a toolbox sideboard, so he's got options where he needs it. 3 Edicts will be something I imagine he's going to bring in off his sideboard. Gives him opportunity to kill off those important Cyclops and Fiends, and be able to get past the Apostle's Blessings. That is something that you will find from most Eye Candy decks. Eye Candy is a deck that was very popular at the beginning of the new ban season, but has definitely dropped off in a significant fashion. What else he does have available to him? Like I said, plenty of discard options, 2 copies of Duress, and a single Raven's Crime. Those are things that he could bring in if he wants to try and disrupt CJ. Something that I personally like to do against the deck. If you can take away their hand, you've removed options to sideboard. It's not a foolproof plan. There are plenty of better things. Obviously, the Edicts would be a better answer than discard, because of the fact that the Eye Candy deck does have a significant amount of card draw going for it. So it looks like we're finally going to get underway here. Both players opting to keep their hands. That's always a good start. I hate to see a game where a player has to drop down to 5 before really getting things going. Looks like we may be playing through a little bit of a slow game. But that's okay. We'll do our best to try and fill the void. Continuing down the list for eHustle's sideboard, his many options for sideboard. You also have, like I said earlier, an additional copy of Snuff Out. Something that could be brought in. Obviously, any kind of kill is going to be great. If you could find an opportunity to kill off a Cyclops or a Fiend after they have comboed out even just a spell or two, you've wasted those spells to their combo. You really kind of throw them through a loop. But we do see a full set of Apostle's Blessings. I really kind of like CJ's version of the deck. He is running a version of Eye Candy that is running a full set of Mutagenic Growths. And that's something I always felt was a bit under-evaluated, perhaps, in Eye Candy. It can be played, obviously, for simply 2 life, or allows for a bigger attack. So, Hustle getting a start on the feeder. Going to be able to put down a mirror and kill off that Kiln Fiend. Really unfortunate CJ did manage to actually hit that turn 2 Kiln Fiend, which is really important to pull out that turn 3 kill. Turn 3 being obviously the fastest the deck can win. We'll have to see, take a look here real quick while they're playing to see just how many copies of... Okay, so eHustle is running 3 copies of Perilous Mirror. Which gives him great opportunity to find what he needs. Ooh, and CJ not hitting a 3rd land, but is getting a 2nd Kiln Fiend into play. We'll have to see what, if anything, Hustle can do at this point in time. If he can't clear it off the table, that isn't necessarily game over, but with 5 cards in hand for CJ, it might just be enough. Again, considering the fact that his deck is running the probes as well as the Mutagenic Growths, with those Phyrexian mana costs, he can pay his life instead of mana to get those going. The growth will obviously increase the damage on the Kiln Fiend, and he only needs to obviously get it to 10 plus an Assault Strobe in order to finish eHustle off. Obviously, a bit of a pondering moment here for eHustle. 5 cards in hand, he may have some options available to him. Clearly nothing right away as far as making the Kiln Fiend die on this turn. Takes the opportunity to put out a War Marshal, which is not a bad play. I don't know what's in his hand, but it provides at the very least a chump blocker if CJ, for whatever reason, doesn't actually have any of those spells, such as Artful Dodge or Shadow Rift, that do give it the unblockability. It will provide eHustle with an opportunity here to chump block. And down comes Tortured Existence. This is going to be good for Hustle. This is probably what he was thinking about. Obviously doesn't have the mana for it right now, but wanted to be able to use it. He will have it on the next turn. If CJ can't win here, he's going to be able to bring back this Perilous Mirror. I guess we should bust open his graveyard once again. Bring back this Perilous Mirror, kill off this Kiln Fiend. But CJ's starting to go. Apostle's Blessing coming down. Looks like he will have the win, giving it protection from red at this point in time. Probe did come down as well. He drew a card off that. Looking at 7 on the Kiln Fiend. Here comes another Probe. We're now up to 10. All he needs, he's got 1 mana for it. Does he have the Assault Strobe? No. Attacking through 4/10. 5 cards in hand. I'm a little surprised that he didn't have anything else going for him. Oh man, that could definitely be absolutely devastating for him here, because E-Hustle's going to have this ability to get this Perilous Mirror back, sacrifice it to the Carrion Feeder, and kill off this Kiln Fiend. By doing that, Feeder's going to go up to 4. Bring CJ down to 6. And leaving him with an empty board state. No Cyclops until the next turn, which means it will not be able to attack until... was that CJ's turn 4? Yeah, that was his turn 4, so he wouldn't be able to attack again until turn 6. That's kind of disappointing. You see, he had everything built up for him. All he needed was to get that Assault Strobe. For those of you who may not be familiar, Assault Strobe is at sorcery speed. It is that 1 red for the ability to give a creature double strike until end of turn. I would be a little bit surprised here if Hustle's play was not to get back that Perilous Mirror. And instead, well, hell, I guess 3 cards in hand, there is absolutely a chance that he doesn't actually have a creature to discard to Tortured Existence. I kind of feel like if he did, actually, he might have made this play right away. Maybe CJ's taking that chance. You know, if you don't have Assault Strobe, there's nothing else you can do. 1 red mana available. Clearly, the cards in his hand were not anything that would make that happen. And I'm guessing he doesn't. Oh, but he does have an Edict. Okay, so Edict is going to clear the Killed Fiend off the board. For what it is worth, interesting to note in my opinion, and he's just going to see it out here. E-Hustle's only burn spells are going to be Death Spark, so it's not like he would have had a Lightning Bolt or anything there. CJ drawing his card, and I'm guessing did not find any of the creatures that he needed to pull that down, either a Cyclops or a Fiend. So Hustle's going to be able to take this down. Now 2-0 for Team DBC, and we'll have to see if E-Hustle too can pull off an all-kill for this team.